Hello, everybody over there. That's where I belong. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. To my right is Lucas, all the way from the USFA. Got his Croatian top on, ready for a Croatia, Italy tonight. And we are back. Have your say. So jump on, have your say on anything West Ham related. Lucas, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hope everyone's well. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, it's gonna be quite the day. Hopeful for a prosperous match for Croatia. I'm just clinging on to the fact that we've never lost to Italy, so
Mm,
I'm hoping. I don't know. We've done it before. I think we can do it again. I know last time we drew and lost, and we had to beat Czech Republic last time to get in.
yeah.
This time it's a bit more difficult, but Italy up and down. They haven't really impressed me that much, but 5 draws, 3 wins in our history against them. I think we can do it today. Just got to show up, which we haven't done yet. So
Banker draw, mate. I was what I'm going to say. But we'll talk about that later
someone
on.
will win that match.
Right.
I will be shocked if that ends in a draw.
Right, 10 o'clock tonight, UK time. I'll be messaging you. So I told you it's a fucking draw. Right, Lucas. First question of the day. Yeah, are West Ham skint? Talk to me, because I've been having it backwards and forwards with people today, and finally people are waking up and realizing that this fucking ownership are a bunch of wankers. What are you saying, mate?
Um, I'll be honest. I haven't really been too in the know with all the stuff that's been going on the past week, whatever it may be. But I've caught up a little bit. I know some, but I don't think we're is. I don't know. It's weird. So I've seen both sides of the coin. Some people say we have all this money to spend, and then there's some people saying that we are incredibly skint. We only have 50, 60 million pound to spend. I'll be honest with you, just like most things in life, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. So I don't truly believe we only have 50, 60, 70 million pound to spend. I also don't believe we have this 120 to 200 million that people either are saying they know we have or they think. But
Mhm.
I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of
I'm gonna
crap
be
coming
honest,
out,
mate.
and some of the stuff is I wouldn't call it fear mongering, but they're just
Yeah,
they're just peddling something that really doesn't have to be pushed. And again, it's another West Ham summer. Like there's going to be, like Robert just said, smoke and mirrors as always. That is a West Ham summer every single year.
uh,
And
no way.
this is the first time that I'm really trying to not get caught up in any like summer news. And I'll be honest with you, it's felt really nice.
I know
Just
what you're
like
saying.
I really just stick to like one Twitter page that puts out news, and that's about it. I'm not really like going in the replies or the quote tweets and seeing any discourse or anything, because I don't feel like debating something that isn't factual or we know is
I don't
factual.
know, mate. I don't know. Listen, when I'm seeing links to Callum Wilson, Zaha, who was the other one that got linked the other day? There was someone else who got linked, like it was a free transfer. I'm seeing a lot of free transfers appearing, you know, and I'm not seeing a lot of big money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but someone's. Can you hear that out there or not?
No.
All right, thank God for that, because someone's fucking decided to work outside my yard. Fuck off. Anyway, what I was saying is, yeah, is that basically, for me, it's a concern. It's a concern, mate. And like now, it just seems like Sullivan is a well, people are starting to see it. Still, people are starting to see it. All right, but the Max Kilman thing, I'm not on this five at all. I really am not. I don't understand why West Ham put a 25 million pound bid in when Wolves want 45 million, and then people are trying to tell me saying it's like buying an house or a car, and I'm like, well, it ain't like buying a fucking house or a car, because if I'm going for an half a million pound house, yeah, I'm not offering 200 grand. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't.
It's to me again, it's all opinions. I think it's and again, it's a bit of a different situation. So like obviously before this Max Kilman stuff,
Yeah.
it came out that United are interested in Jared Branthwaite, and
Mm,
Everton value him at like at bare minimum 70 million pound, and United go in offer 35 off the bat. it's a bit of the same but different. Like we're not that far off, but I get what you're saying. If Wolves say they want 45 and you go in with 25, it's just I don't know. Some people have different negotiation strategies and views and stuff. I'm not too fussed about it, but again, if we're not trying to waste our time, being £20 off isn't really the best way to start off negotiations if you're not trying to waste time. If you want to drag it out and try and get him for as cheap as possible, yeah, sure. Start with that. But I don't know. Again, Max Kilman, I've said it before. I think he's a decent player. I think he's fine, but £45 million, not for me. But if Lopetegui really wants him and he sees him as a crucial part of our new project and our new side, by all means. I did see something the other day. I said I wasn't really paying attention in the replies or some tweets and stuff, but I saw something that if we were to get him, he'd be our new captain. I think that'd be an absolute piss take. You've got about 3 or 4 other people that are way in front of the pecking order. But again, I can't remember exactly which Twitter page done that or what source it was, but it wasn't like a crap source.
Mate, I must admit, you do crack me up because you do come out with some classics. Yeah, I saw the same. And it is a joke. It is an insult. Like if a player comes in, automatically becomes the captain of the ship. Mate, if we pay 45 million or 40 million pounds for Max Kilman, we have gone mad. Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. I'll say exactly what it is. It's to appease the manager. Straight away. It's a transfer to go, right, we've got to give this to him because if we don't, we're no different to Wolves and what Wolves done a year ago. So if we pay 40 to 45 million for this geezer, I'm going to be honest, mate. What the fuck is all that about? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's just confusing. And again, like, I really don't try to get caught up in like this budget talk because let's say if we only do have, let's go in the middle. Let's call it 80. Say we have £80 million to spend. You're telling me right off the bat, we spent 65 mil of our 80 budget on a teenager who we don't know. Well, from what I've read, it seems like he is going to play.
Yeah.
This kid. And then a center half that I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's bad. I actually think Max Kilman is a decent center half, but again, the price worries me. But we need to be getting players, not a player. You know what I mean? So I feel like someone said it the other day. I can't remember. They said they'd rather spend that 45 million possibly on Greaves and another center half rather than Kilman. And I would have to agree personally, unless Lopetegui somehow wanted to keep Aguerd and Zuma, but apparently he is saying they're surplus to requirement, or not surplus to requirement. But if an offer comes in, a good offer, they're done. They're gone. So I don't know. It's a bit confusing.
It is a little bit. Robert says here, all people are saying is Kilman isn't worth 45 million, so why should we pay what they want? The problem is, if Wolves want 45 million and he's on a 5-year deal there because he's only recently signed a new contract, why are they going to accept 25 million? Like we're not robbing it. We're not going to rob this geezer for 25 million. And people think to ourselves like, oh, what we'll do, we'll lowball them and see what they do. They've got this geezer under lock and key, like we had under deck. Like we had deck under lock and key. And that's the reason why we got 105 million from them. So if Wolves want 45 million for this geezer, we've got to pay 45 million for this geezer.
And I'm seeing some stuff in the chat that I totally agree with. It is perfectly fine that Wolves value him at 45 million pounds. I think that's perfectly fine. Ever since the whole Rice ordeal, I've actually really started to come away from blasting certain clubs' price tags on a player. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we don't watch them play all the time, so we don't really know what they're worth to them. Even like what I just mentioned earlier, Jared Branthwaite. I was talking to my best mate's a United supporter, and I told him, if I supported United and I know I have, and again, it's subjective because their budget is completely different to ours. To them, 150 million to spend in the summer is nothing. Like that's small for them. And I told him, I was like, mate, if I support United and I know the type of budget I have every summer, I would easily spend 60 to 70 on Jared Branthwaite. I think he's superb. I think he's so good. But again, it's same but different. Like Max Kilman, like Charlie said, potentially is he worth 45 million? It could be if we did get him and he was absolutely fantastic for us. It could be a coup. Who knows? But in the moment, again, my opinion doesn't really matter because I'm not a professional in the footballing world.
Mate, if we pay 45 mil for this geezer,
it's not really. It's a bit far for me.
Yeah, but 45 million for this geezer is taking the piss, and it feels like to me. This is my own personal opinion, so no one come down and shoot me with a shotgun. Yeah, that we are trying to do this for Lopetegui. I thought we was going away from all that, like doing it for the manager. We was doing it like Tim Stein was going to bring in players, and Lopetegui was going to coach them. Rather than us
and that's the other thing too. People are complaining about a small budget and whatnot. That's what did we bring Tim Stein in for? We brought him in to sign. I wouldn't say fringe players, but sign players for not a lot of money,
right?
And he puts Lopetegui or was Moyes into. He gives them the foundation to move on, but again, it's just a load of contradictions everywhere. Like again, if it was true and we only have 50-60 million pounds to spend, would I be upset? Yes, but at the end of the day, people who are heavily fans of Tim Stein and back him to the hill, and they're making excuses for him. He was brought in to do this. Like, here's the money that you have. You got to make it work. And
that comment there, Chalobah's there, sitting there in West London.
I wouldn't say I personally wouldn't say he's miles better, but I would say they're in the same. I think Kilman's better, but for 25 million pounds, you give me Chalobah who can play multiple different positions and he's homegrown. I think that's better bang for your buck. I
agree on that. I really do. For me, Kilman just doesn't do it, and I think we're doing it for the manager. Let's talk about Ryan Sessegnon. He keeps getting mentioned. He's a free agent. What do you make of him, Lucas?
As of right now, it doesn't really inspire me. Again, it could be another one of those deals. It could maybe pan out to be a decent signing, but he's kind of had an unlucky career so far. I know when he got to Tottenham, he got injured a bunch, but he was highly regarded when Tottenham bought him. But he's had a load of injuries. But again, with those types of players, sometimes all they need is another chance at another club, and they could turn out good. But I don't know. The left back situation is almost just confusing as the budget situation, because we extend Cresswell, which with this whole new vision that people were crying for and whatnot, I think it's a bit of a joke. But extend Cresswell. Emerson, I'm not really sure on his future. I've seen some things from not the greatest of sources.
Yeah.
And then Sessegnon, like, do we really need 3 left backs?
Yeah, but what it is with Sessegnon, he can play all down the left-hand side, like left wing, left back, left wing back.
Yeah, but Emerson can also play left wing back and like out wide on the left, not on the wing, but like in a 3-4-3.
I know what you're saying, right? For me, if you get the Sessegnon from Fulham, you've got a good signing there. Like, because he was very good at Fulham. Like, there's no doubt about it. I understand what people say about his injury record, right? But I think he's lost his way at Spurs. I think if he goes to another club, he's going to be more involved. I think if he comes to West Ham, I think he's a decent.
Yeah, I think he's a decent player. It's just the injuries, obviously, because as we all know, last season actually was probably one of the first I can remember where we did not have a huge injury crisis. And it felt really nice to not have to go through that. But I really would not like to go back. But obviously, football is not a perfect sport, not a perfect world. So I'm sure we'll be hit with a fat injury bug next season. It's already started with Alvarez, but it's whatever.
Let's talk about someone who does a podcast with our striker, and that is Callum Wilson. We've been linked with him for a cash fee or something. Say, I read that the other day. Uh, Callum Wilson, yes or no for you?
People want younger.
Agree.
If we're going off that, no, because he's old. Is he still decent? Absolutely. He always scores against us, so at least if we get him, we can stop that instantly. But
yeah,
again, it depends on what's being quoted. Like if you said we could get him for, and again, I don't even know if he's a Lopetegui type striker because again, I need to see Lopetegui in preseason to really know what our vision is and all that. But Wilson and Antonio in the same side during the season, it'd be interesting to say the least if they're both at the same club. But
both
Wilson,
in the same position.
Say if you offer Wilson for like £15 million, like if we were offered Wilson and Danny Ings for the same price, obviously you'd pick Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
say £15 million. I wouldn't do it, but I don't think it'd be the worst deal in the world because he still finds the back of the net routinely. I just don't know if he fits a Lopetegui system. But then again, I do not know what that system is.
So the thing is, right, I don't understand what you're saying, spot on. Like we've heard this red ball model, yeah. There was one player in Guilherme who's we don't know whether he's playing or not, do we? Let's be real. We don't know whether he's coming to start. We don't know whether he's going to be a part of the first team. He's going to be a substitute. It's going to be used for like 10 minutes a game. Like we don't know, right? The issue I have is with like the other players that we've been linked with, Zaha, Wilson, like all these players are sort of dead players. We're not signing no one in their prime. We're signing people at the end of their career, coming up to the end of their careers, like West Ham of old. And that goes back to the ownership of the club. Now, I see something today where people are blaming Moyes and Sullivan for the last 4 years. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, Sullivan's still fucking here, right? And I will get to David Moyes because I want to touch on that, right? But I just don't understand where it's going. Like the Max Kilman thing, yeah, I understand it because he's worked with Lopetegui, but are you telling me that Lopetegui's worked with fucking loads of players all around Europe? Why is he going for a geezer who's up in Wolves and and they want to pay extortionate money? Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, if I'm being honest. And yeah, it just feels flat at the minute. I need to start seeing something. And people saying, "Oh, well, the Euros are on." Yeah, I know, but it's fucking millions of players there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I just want to. For me, I want to know the vision because,
agree.
like we've talked about many times before, people complained about how old our squad was, and then once a certain someone left, I hate talking about him now because I'm over it personally, but I'm not over the fact that people keep talking about certain someone and blaming him, blah blah blah. You cannot blame someone for the state of the squad, but then continuing and turning a blind eye to buying players that are old. Like you cried out for this Red Bull model to get younger players in, blah 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 blah. But now that we're getting linked with Zaha and maybe some other players that are a bit more well known, and a certain manager isn't here anymore, like, oh, that's fine. Like, no, that's not right to me. But then again, I'm not really buying into all that. I really pay it no attention. But I mean, overall, I just want to know the vision going forward. I want to know if Lopetegui's gonna invest in the youth, his depth. I just want to know the way forward.
I agree.
That's it. And whatever it is, I will back it to an extent, even though I've said a million times, I think the new appointment's a sideways step. I'm still going to back the manager no matter what, even if I don't agree.
See, for me, yeah. Well, I will get to Moyes in a minute because I find it fucking laughable that people are still going on about David Moyes, a ex-employee of West Ham, and they've still got this thing about the hatred for the geezer. Like, that's just pathetic. But the reason why I'm slightly concerned is the fact that in 3 weeks' time, pre-season starts for West Ham. Yeah, the 20th of July, to be correct. West Ham play Dagenham and Redbridge. That's the first one. And then they go over to the US of A. Now, West Ham need to get a move on and start like getting things sorted out and like not fuck about. And that's the reason why I'm concerned. We know how long it takes us to do deals. Right, as a club, we all know it as fans, right? And let's not lie to ourselves and say, "Oh, yeah, it'll be fine. They'll get it done." Yeah, 3 weeks time, pre-season starts. Yeah, and then you've only got about 3 to 4 weeks, and then the full season starts. And West Ham need to get what 6, 7 players in. So far, we've got 2 in. The goalkeeper, which I think is fucking disgusting, but that's just my opinion, and Guilherme. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's where
And I do believe, and not to go on more about the budget, but I do believe that we are going to have to obviously sell some players to spend more. So really, people that are saying, "Oh, we only have 50, 60 million pound to spend," you also got to remember we're looking to offload certain players, so that budget will increase. The plan is not to have 40 first team players. Like that's I don't think that's the vision or the goal. So again, that budget will be added on to whether you think it's 50, 60, 200, 150. I don't know. Again, like I said, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. So I'm not buying the skintness or we have all this money. It'll reveal itself.
What I'm going to say about the David Moyes thing is like he's been on BBC. He's been sort of not commentating, but being a pundit on BBC, and I see people coming out and having a go at him, just saying a lot of shit. Now, for a channel that we're supposed to be Moyes obsessed, we ain't said a fucking word about his geezer. Like, he is gone. He is like now a stranger in the night. He does not represent West Ham United Football Club. Yeah, but it seems like people can't let this geezer go. It's like having an ex-bird, and you see the ex-bird with a new geezer, and you just fucking hate the ex-bird for being with that new geezer. Right, you got to let it go, mate. I'll tell you that now. It's fucking sad, yeah. And when I see people having a go at him for the way he's left the club, why don't people start having their fucking energy towards Sullivan like this? Yeah, because I've never the amount of intensity that I've seen over under David Moyes over the last 18 months. I've never seen it as impactful under Sullivan. Under Sullivan's reign, I've never seen it. I've seen people try it. Yeah, and people are starting to sort of fight back with the concessions now and the ticket prices.
Which I do hope, by the way, has a huge effect because I do think what they've done is quite disgusting. Even though you could argue we still have some of the cheapest season tickets in the league, still, like, you can't, in my eyes, you can't be charging kids adult prices. That's ridiculous.
Piss takers, mate. I've said it for 8 years, yeah, and I'm glad people are starting to see it now because the more voices,
and the elderly as well.
You know what I mean? And the problem is when people are saying it in like small fews, their voices are like go through the fucking echo. Now people are starting to sort of have a bit of an influence and say, "Well, hold on a minute," right, and starting to making their voices very much heard. Right, they're looking to boycott the Betway Cup in sort of August, I think it is, when West Ham plays Celta Vigo. I make them 100% right. I've been saying it for fucking years in regards to this ownership of this club, because what it is, they look at West Ham as a money-making machine, and they don't care. They don't, because I said it earlier on. I'm going to go into a little bit of a fucking rant, but it is what it is. Yeah, West Ham are trying to basically sell their big hitters to make it look like they're doing damage in the market, when in fact they're not doing no damage in the market. They're just fucking basically paying for what they get, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong, and I get why every other channel's doing this stuff. I get why people are starting to come out and basically say their bit about it and making their voices heard. But their voices will be heard in one way, and that is in the media.
And I would love if this one time all YouTube or all West Ham YouTube channels, there's loads of them out there. It'd be nice if everyone just came together once to push the same message, something of good that could possibly have an effect.
I agree. Listen, right, I love this club as much as the next man, right, and we all care about this club. But the problem is when you've got people at the top of the mountain that I've always said, I said it last year, who dictate the play, and they will take the piss out of the fans. Eventually, the fans will turn around and say enough's enough. And I noticed it the other day that fans are starting to turn around and say, "Nah, fuck this. We ain't having this shit no more. We're not having it. Like it's not right." And the best way of getting to Sullivan, that I've always said, is walking out of games live on TV and shaming this cunt, because that's what he is, right? He's a cunt. right? You walk out in your masses and say, right, we are not accepting this situation under your reign unless you change it. That
Yeah.
geezer will soon change his fucking tune, 100%. Like it's just a mess at the minute. It just feels like a mess. And what do you obviously make of with Steiden though? Because I see something with Steiden today and all, where people are starting to knock him, and he ain't even done nothing yet to be knocked. Well, what you said?
Yeah, again, I don't really have an opinion of Steiden because he really hasn't done much, in my opinion, with
Yeah.
his time here. Like, yes, he's definitely helped in negotiations, but people saying that he is the main cog in the machine of getting Alvarez, Kudus, Mavropanos. Like, I don't believe all that, because if people done their research before, people are all like, oh, he built Leverkusen, blah blah blah. Like, no, again, he was part of a team.
Yeah.
I think the main guy's name was like Raffles or something. He was part of a team. So, like, just the misrepresentation of him enough is annoying, but people praising him to the hill when, and again, this is not me hating or doubting him, but he's barely been here. He's barely been able to really have an impact. Like I said, if you think he's the main reason behind the new signings that we got last season, I guess if that's what you want to peddle, go ahead, but it's just not true, in my opinion. This summer, I think, would be a bit more of a test for him, and I could formulate
yeah.
an opinion on him, because
But is he gonna have the tools though, Lucas, to do the job in hand? Because like if he's being offered peanuts and he's expected to find
you could
gold,
argue that for almost anyone in the Premier League that isn't a Pig Six club, but at the same time, he was brought in for this I wouldn't say this exact situation, but he was brought in on the merit that he will find players that no one else is thinking of. He'll find players that no one has even thought about looking for cheap money, and they will be effective, good players. And that's what he's known for, some people say. And yes, if he only had £60 million to spend without selling players, yes, I don't agree with it. But then again, he was brought in to do that. So I'm gonna judge him accordingly to that.
I understand that. I'm gonna get to this comment because it's probably comment of the day for me. We've gone from a family club to a tourist club. It will come back and bite us, bite them in the arse. I agree with that to a point, right? There's two ways I look at it. Is I want West Ham to be a global aspect. Look at that man now. He's from the US of A. Now that doesn't really bother me, but what does bother me is the way he treats the local community and the local people and the people who've been going for years. You shouldn't be pricing kids and OAPs who are the future and the bloodline of this club and basically outpricing them. Yeah. And the problem is, and I'm going to say it, even though I've known Lucas a long time, is you get a lot of people from different countries come over to the club, spend shitloads of money on everything. Yeah. And local John, who lives in fucking Custom House or Stratford or Romford or Hornchurch or somewhere, can't afford to do that. He just simply can't. And if he's got two kids and a missus, like it topped up the other day, it's costing people about £250 to go and watch a game of football.
Exactly. But this is the thing, though. We will see Betway Cup Celta Vigo. We'll see, because over the years, what you just said is bang on, and we will see if Sullivan has done a good job and is succeeded with his plan, because what they've done, and again, Charlie says that tourists aren't the problem, but we'll see if his plan has come to fruition, because at the end of the day, he's built a plan in which, okay, you all can rebel, you all can protest, but I'm still going to get 50,000 tourists coming to my ground.
And then listen,
which again, the tourist part is fine. The one that bothers me, is it's just the random people that don't even like support West Ham. That's like who they're trying to cater to, like people who are on a day out
franchise.
Which again, to us, we don't like that. But again, we view the club differently than anyone else. Like again, the only thing that bothers me is just they're on a mission. They're trying to succeed with a plan that even if we do rebel, people don't go to the matches, they're still going to get a bunch of tourists that don't have any connection to the club. They're going to go to the match because the tickets are cheap compared to a bunch of other clubs. The concessions, which I know for a fact concessions are expensive, but still maybe compared to some other clubs, less or cheaper than others. And yeah, that I'm not a fan of.
I understand what Charlie's saying, right? I'll just read these comments. I was just waiting for you to finish. We shouldn't blame tourists, though. Tourists become full fans. It's not about blaming tourists, though, Charlie. But what you're doing is you're giving the opportunity to a tourist when you should be giving the opportunity to a local supporter who's come from, like, the UK, basically, yeah? For me, personally, like, someone who comes over from Asia or America or Australia, they're always going to fund it there because that's their thing. Like, do you know what I mean? If I was to go to America with Luke and meet Lucas, I'll be going around doing like basketball and things like that, and then it'd be the same boat for me. The issue that we have is that you've got young fans in a cost of living crisis who can't afford to go, and if you've got a son who can't afford to go, then you've got a father who can't afford to go. Yeah, because the father ain't going to go without his son, and then you're just basically turning it from a family club into basically first come, first serve. It shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't.
The problem with me is that shouldn't be the entire focus. And for me, because DiCanio makes a decent point there. All the British fans that go to Barcelona on Stag do complain about tourists at West Ham. I get that to a point, but that shouldn't be the full-on vision for West Ham and from the owners. And to me, that's what it feels like. I think, obviously, not a perfect world again, but there's people that are able to do both. Like United do it, Liverpool do it.
Yeah.
All the big clubs, obviously. And we're a big club too, so I don't understand why we can't incorporate bringing in tourists who could become lifelong fans or supporters of the club and appeasing to supporters that have an incredible lineage to the club. They've been supporting the club ever since its existence. I just don't understand why it has to be one or the other. And to me, Brady, especially Brady, has put her full focus on attracting random tourists that can't go out to United, can't go out to Liverpool, can't go out to Chelsea. Look, come to West Ham. We're a cheaper day out.
Yeah, bang on, mate.
That's just my opinion, though. So.
Nah, that's absolutely spot on. Charlie, I love the Souček thing, but that might have to go because that's going to do my nutting if we talk like this.
No. I want you to look at him every second I say anything. I want you to look deeply at him and just remember, because when he goes to Real Madrid, James, we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him.
And I just want to say, my warrior, my captain.
What a man.
My captain.
What a beautiful man. There you go.
Charlie, welcome. What do you want to say, mate?
This is the thing. I just think when we talk about tourists, we're just so completely missing the point. Like, what they're doing and what they've always done is so it's so stupid and so wrong. But we get so caught up within ourselves about talking about people who go to the ground who don't support West Ham or like go there once and buy this and buy that and all this other sort of nonsense. It's so distracting from the actual problem here, and it's like we catch ourselves up in it, and we just end up talking around in circles about tourists and this sort of stuff. The idea that, like, the thing is, tourists will literally always exist, so there's no point even talking about them. They will literally always exist.
I understand what you're saying there. Well, I'm just going to interject there quickly. I get what you're saying about tourists, because wherever a player goes, usually tourists follow. So, i.e., like DiCanio, you get a lot of Italian fans, etc. Sure, right. So I can relate you to that, but you don't cut the bloodline of the youngsters and the elderly for the sake of it, mate.
No, that's the thing I'm saying. We're missing the point. by talking about tourists, we're missing the point of what they're actually doing, which is absolutely destroying people who follow the club properly. And that's the whole point I'm making here, is when it comes to tourist fans, like, they're not a bad thing. They should exist. People,
Yes.
they should 100% be coming to games. We should encourage them to come to games, because that's one of the big differences between a club our size and a club the size of Man United, Man City, Chelsea, whoever you might want to say. One of the big
Right.
differences is they'll get tourist stands because they're known from around the world, and they'll go, oh, when we're in London, we can go and see an Arsenal game. We can go and see, oh, when we're in England, we can go to Manchester and watch a Manchester United game. That's such a huge revenue thing that we should 100% encourage that. But they are not mutually exclusive. And by talking about tourists, we make it a mutually exclusive thing. And it's shooting shots where they don't need to be shot. Whereas all of the shots should be 100% focused on Sullivan and the people who work for Sullivan, and not a single other person.
But Sullivan's made this into a franchise. Now, I'll tell you something right now. Yeah, this is my quick little story for you. The reason why I've never set foot in there, because I used to speak to a lot of people in the East End of London. They used to say the same thing to me. They told me exactly what was going to happen. Right, West Ham are going to go over to Stratford. He's going to blow it up into a franchise, and basically all the prices will go up. And then before you know where you are, there's going to be an outcry. Yeah, and the outcry is happening right now. Now, am I shocked that the outcries took 8 years to happen? Yeah, I am. I'm not going to lie. I thought it'd be happening probably in like 2020, but obviously with COVID and everything sort of slowed down since then, right?
Well,
But
it happens whenever we're not very good.
no,
In the same way that Burnley was a bigger outcry than what's happening right now. Now, don't get me wrong. If this was happening in the middle of the season, maybe it would be different. But
no,
Burnley was huge.
Burnley was huge to a point, but this is a different story now, because now you're taking the bloodline away of the younger and older generation, mate. Now you're affecting their pockets now, mate, right? And that, to me, that's where you don't go down that road. You can't, Charlie, you cannot
No. You're missing the point.
Right.
I'm not saying go down that road. It's wrong. Ticket prices for football are too expensive. Lucas, how much did the shirt on your shirt that you're wearing, or either of the two behind you, how much do they cost? You look at the club website, they're like £90 for a shirt.
Yeah.
What the hell are we talking about here? There's a reason why I have one shirt that has Carlton Cole's name on the back, and that's because I bought it a decade ago. And the idea of buying another one for £80 is stupid.
And what I was going to say, I thought what Charlie said is testament to start off. I thought he was spot on, and that's kind of what I was trying to say, that tourists and supporters, you don't have to put them in the same bowl. But for me, and I think you're trying to say the same thing as well, to me, I'm more annoyed that Brady and Sullivan have shifted, again, in my opinion, shifted the focus to that more than trying to appease to both, because I think it's possible to appease to both. Because like Charlie said, I don't think tourists are a bad thing, because for all we know, that one kid and one father, they could go to a random West Ham match. They become supporters for life. And that, to me, that's beautiful.
I've got no problem with that, Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas.
Let me finish real quick.
Yeah.
That I have no problem with, and I find that beautiful.
Yeah.
But to me, it feels like Brady and Sullivan, they're just focusing on people, or they're shifting the vision to people who just want to have a day out. And again, it's not in terms of business practice and whatever. That's what they want to do. They want to make money. That's fine. But I feel like they don't have to cut off the bloodline from the head immediately to do that. If they were good at what they do, they should be able to appease lineages of fans who have been going to West Ham forever, rather than kind of, I wouldn't say bin them off, but like you said, price them out.
Well, what I'm going to say is this, what you said, absolutely spot on. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Do you know what I mean? What makes me laugh is people knock this geezer and say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about, but he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Right. When I see and hear stories of like a father taking his son from fucking Australia or Thailand, coming over and going to West Ham and falling in love with the club, that is magic, mate. Considering I used to live 15 minutes away from Upton Park, that is a special time, and that's what makes it be. When you used to walk down Green Street and see them big fucking gates, see that beautiful club, lovely. The moment you go to Stratford, you're trying to turn it into a franchise. West Ham is now a franchise, and I have this argument with people all the time. Yeah, they cannot accept that West Ham is now a franchise. West Ham, London at the bottom, and all that game. Yeah, for me, you don't go after the locals. He's done it once in 2016 when he fucked off all the locals and got over to Stratford, and now he's trying to do it again. The difference is now is that people are starting to speak up now, right, and say, "Hold a minute, this is not right." And I've seen like petitions. I've seen people going on Talk Sport. I've seen it all, yeah. And I'm pleased. I'm proud. I fucking am, because I was saying it for a long time, and I'm just a fat prick who doesn't really get a lot of mention. But now there's big boys are starting to mention it, big hitters, and people are starting to come out and say, "Hold on a minute, right?" And it would affect Sullivan when the pounds note don't start hitting the deal.
I doubt it will go
Do you know what I'm
down.
saying?
That's my big concern.
It
About
has
this,
to go
is
down, though, Charlie.
No. You're preaching to the choir. I
Yeah.
gave up my season ticket years ago because of them. You're talking to the exact same. Like we have a similar opinion. I haven't been to a football match. I haven't been to a West Ham match, I should say specifically.
Yeah.
In what, 4 years almost now? Like
Right.
no, over 4 years. Sorry. Like it's not happened for the exact same reasons as you don't go to the ground, right? It's the exact same thing. So you're preaching to the choir. I think if we can get together and somehow hurt and stop going to matches, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But I don't see a situation which fans will do that. So which then asks the question of what's the next step, because there does have to be a next step if in any sort of that thing. And that's why I say Burnley was more impactful, because Burnley was something that was actually hugely that genuinely changed the way the club was run.
But it won't
Burnley
take long.
genuinely.
It won't take long to go back like that, mate. I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think it will either. But all of that is like a consistent thing. And if West Ham start the season and start winning, it will unfortunately dissipate. It's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes.
I don't think it does, mate. I swear, West Ham could go and win every game. And
people didn't complain about Moyes when we were winning. When we started
Agree.
losing, people started complaining about Moyes. It's just the way it goes in football, unfortunately. I don't like it. I hate it. I wish there was something different.
When you are pricing people out of going, though, Charlie.
No, again, you're missing the point. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Football should be so much cheaper than it is. The fact that you have to pay so much to get the tickets, pay for shirts, pay for Sky, I was going to say BT, TNT Sports, Amazon, flipping all of these things. And if you're in the UK, you pay for what, 3-4 different subscription services, and you still might not get to see West Ham play because it's on a Saturday at 3 p.m. or it's this reason or whatever. Yeah. It's so ridiculously expensive to support a football team. It's absurd. It's stupid. And there's so many things. What's the quote that always comes up when these sort of things happen? The Bayern Munich CEO or whatever he was, the one who talks about, why would I raise my season ticket prices? That's only going to make me 2 extra more million. That's in a transfer session. You're going to talk about that in a day. Like it's so insane how expensive all of this stuff is, and it's not okay.
I get what you're saying. I do, yeah.
But it's got nothing to do with tourists, because tourists always exist.
I understand that. I understand what you're saying on that regard, and I am with you 100% on that, yeah? But the tourists will have a free access to come in there because
but here's
they
the
can
thing. Here's
afford
what
it.
I'm saying.
Hold on. Let me land. Right?
Fair.
Tourists will have free access to go in there and pay because they haven't got a restriction. Do you know what I mean? When you've got John, who lives in Romford, and he's got 2 kids, has he got to turn around and tell his 2 kids that he can't afford it to take his 2 kids?
Again, you're talking to someone who didn't go very much as a kid because he couldn't afford to go, and that was when it was affordable.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be straight. I was the same and all. Yeah, where it was the money was tight, but I fucking went though, right? And I managed to scrimp and scrape and go. The problem is people can't afford to go now because there's so much elements to it, and what you've just reeled off is absolutely spot on. Right, you got Sky, you got fucking every other streaming service for a game. When you sort of top it up to watch your club play, get a season ticket, food and drink, you're doing you're doing about $3,000 a year, easy. Like that's on food and drink, travel, going there, if not more than that. So I get the argument, but the problem is you shouldn't outprice and outgun like the people who
I agree with
you.
I think what's happening here is you're thinking I'm saying you should. You shouldn't.
Yeah,
there is, and it's got. But the thing is, it's got nothing to do with tourists because tourists will always exist. All it has, they don't care who's paying for those tickets. Do you think
Agreed.
do you think they have 50,000 or whatever it is season tickets for tourists? No, they exist for the everyday people, and they want to get as much money out of those people as humanly possible. And that's the problem when we talk about tourists and they're doing this for tourists and this, that, and the other. I'm not necessarily saying that isn't part of their business plan, but my point I'm making is that by talking about that, we're completely missing the point. We're letting them get away with it because we're sort of blaming other people, and we shouldn't. The only people we should be talking about in this whole situation is David Sullivan, and that's it.
And like you said as well, and Monty echoes your testament in the chat, it does look bad on us when we start to win, a blind eye starts to get turned. We should it should be not an attack, obviously, but we should be relentless, whether we're successful or not, that Sullivan is not running this club correctly. What he does is disgusting, blah, blah, blah. But like you said, the only way we can change is if we stay consistent and we just keep at it. Because like you said, it's bang on. And it happened with Moyes. When you start winning, everything is fine and peachy. I'll be one of the first to admit, like, when we're winning, obviously if we win, that makes my whole week up until the next match. And I'm not thinking about Sullivan and Brady unless like something egregious pops up on social media or something like that. But I'm not thinking about that. Like, I'm happy West Ham played well. I'm happy West Ham won.
But where'd you draw the line though?
No, I agree. Yeah. And what I'm saying is, like what Charlie said, regardless of winning or losing, if we deem what Sullivan, Brady, whoever are doing business malpractice, or what they're doing is absolutely disgusting, and we should be protesting, blah, 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 we have to keep at it regardless of the success.
I agree with you 1,000% on that. Like, because when I look at the way Moyes was treated, and people say he's the cancer of the club. The biggest cancer of the fucking club is the geezer sitting upstairs with his fucking brass bird. Yeah. And people, I get like carried away with the Moyes thing. Like, I get like it's like he's the fucking monster. Yeah. The problem is you've got another person there who's the puppet master. This I've always said. Yeah. I'll give up fucking trying, but I've always said that. The issue is that in the end something will have to give, because people just can't afford it. Like in everyday life, right? Whether you're renting a property, got a mortgage, or you're living with parents, in life things are costing so much. West Ham will be fourth on the list.
Exactly, and the way that Sullivan, and again, my opinion, the way Sullivan and Brady have sculpted this new vision, like you just said, some things are going to have to go, and I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts they do not care if, let's just say, 10,000 diehard West Ham supporters who have been going as long as time since the club has been going, and they've passed it down from generation to generation. They truly do not care if they go, because the model in which they built, someone is going to step right in, whether it be a tourist, whether it be someone who's been dying to have a season ticket and doesn't share the same exact views as others. Someone is going to fill that seat. And again, to me, I don't like it, but again, it's someone else's gain at the end of the day. And again, and a lot of our perception comes from social media and the news nowadays. People that aren't on social media, we have know exactly what their views are and all that. So as much as we think a percentage or ratio of fans share the same message, we still don't know what thousands of others think, because they're not on the internet, blah, 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 blah. So
Richard, aka Stein supporter, has joined us. What do you want to say, my friend? Please,
good to see you all. Who's C?
Charlie Walsh, Hammers Chat. That's who he is.
Excellent. Charlie Walsh, Hammers Chat. Oh, he's all right, actually.
Yes, he is. That's why he's here.
I'll be taking that. Thank you very much, everyone. Heard it here first.
He's on at a few. Listen, Lucas, good to see you, and loving the Croatia shirt right now.
Thank you, mate.
Tonight, what are your thoughts?
I'm optimistic. We have never lost to Italy in our history. 5 draws, 3 wins. So I'm going in with eyes wide open. I think we will nick it. I'm gonna go 2-1.
Draw for me.
Tasty 2-1.
It's looking like you need a win.
It's very much so. Unless there's a bunch of draws to end the tournament, which, again, I'll scrape in with 2 points if that's how it has to be done. But I think we can do it.
What you saying, Stiden supporter, a.k.a. Richard, about Kilman coming to the club for 45 million, and basically we was just discussing about the ticket prices and the situation with that.
And that's the whole thing. Max Kilman, listen, this has the potential to be a really good signing. Being totally honest, do I completely buy into the fact we got a £60 million budget, or do I think that's a sort of that's a kind of chess piece? Do you know what I mean? Saying, oh, we're limited. Oh, we can only pay so much. We've got to sell all these guys. West Ham are desperate to sell for this window. So more teams come in and inquire about the players, etc. Actually, ignore that last bit. But I do think we've got a bit more money than,
I think it's a weak chess piece if people are thinking we're actually doing that. Because at the end of the day, everyone knows you're a Premier League club. If you really want to dip in your pockets, you can. There's emergency funds. Everyone has an emergency fund. I have one. Everyone has one. So Premier League club has to have one. So the whole, we're skint, we're poor, blah, blah, blah. No Premier League club is going to buy that. But continue, sorry.
But no, but I was just saying, you don't have PSR going at you when you want to go on holiday. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I don't think Sullivan's a master negotiator either. I think it's exactly the sort of thing he would try and get away with, or try and do. And so I don't buy that we've only got £60 million. I might be wrong. Right. If we come out of this summer with only a £60 million net spend, I'd be surprised and disappointed. Look, Max Kilman, I really rate this guy. He's good with the ball at his feet. Okay, let's go. Well, I don't know what I'm going there. Good with the ball at his feet. Strong, physical, good in the air, set piece threat. Lord knows we saw that against them. He's a good footballer, and what I really like about him is his ability to play. And he can play left centre half or right centre half, which has been a bit of a problem for us, especially last couple of years. Sort of having to play people slightly out of position. He's happy to play on that left. Look, do I think it's the best signing in the world? Maybe not. But what you would be getting is someone who the manager sees as a leader, and you'd be getting a player who has got great Premier League experience, a player who's only going to get better. And I think realistically, look at him right now. I mean, I don't know how old he is at the moment. 27?
27, yeah. I think he is, yeah.
So he's 27, and he's already the captain of a Wolves team who did well this year. A mid-table side. And most of the time, to buy a 27-year-old captain from a mid-table side, you got to pay good money for that,
Especially with 5 years left on his contract as well.
But little question for you.
Yeah.
He's captain of Wolves, but do you make him the captain of the West Ham side?
That's a whole other question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have to be a dissertation in itself.
I'd be interested in your views. We've got a team of leaders, but I don't think we've got a leader. So I think regardless, what Lopetegui's got to do is make like a leadership team, like they do a lot of the bigger clubs, rather than just having a captain. We've seen, last couple of years, you can't replace Mark Noble.
Yeah,
this is one of the all-time best Premier League captains. Any era, Premier League captains, Mark Noble has to be up there. And these were huge shoes to fill. We gave them to a 23-year-old, didn't really work, and we've given them to Kurt Zouma, who.
When you put it that way,
I know. Like, don't get me wrong with the Zouma thing. I understand it, but I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that we bring in a player and make him captain straight away. I think that's going to ruffle a few feathers in the camp who have been there for a long time. But
I wouldn't let that sway your opinion on the transfer, James. Is all I would say. Don't let that change your opinion on the player. If that's what happens, that's Lopetegui's call. That's what he has to live with.
Yeah. Right. What do you make of? Because we discussed it a few weeks ago. Obviously, everyone's been busy watching the Euros. But we talked about it on the space. What do you make of this with the ticket thing? Because it seems like it's up in its ante a little bit now. People are starting to go and talk sport. We've just been discussing it before we come on. Give us your thoughts on it.
I think at the moment there's a bit of a news vacuum. Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about. Hence why we're discussing the possibility of Max Kilman being the next West Ham captain. Yeah, when there's nothing.
Yeah.
We need things to discuss, and this is a thing that's frustrating. Yeah, it's another sign of Sullivan and co. I would point out, you don't see the others standing up against this. Of not looking after the fans, especially loyal fans who have been fans for probably all their whole life, 60 years, 70 years, and we're seeing them being far from looked after, treated quite poorly, really. All I would say on the opposite end is I think up to this point the club have been really, really good in the way it has treated concessions, and I think the club has been great in the way it's kept the cost down of season tickets. I mean, we've been seeing shit football though, so frankly, I wouldn't want it to pay £1,000 to watch West Ham play. But I think the reality is, if we do want to keep competing, and these are some of the things as a fan base we have to suffer. It's kind of this thing of, I don't want to make it political, and I'm not on your channel, James, but it's kind of this thing of, everyone wants to pay less taxes. Everyone wants to pay less taxes.
Yeah.
No brainer. But we also want all the other good things that come along with it. And the reality is, I think the club are up in, hospitality prices as well. That's still where the club makes a lot of its revenue. There's only so much you can make off that until you put that cost on to, regular match going fans. And I think that's what they've done.
Yeah.
I'm being very political here. And not in terms of like I was comparing it to politics, but I'm being non-committal because I can see the arguments for both sides.
But one thing I'm going to say is, where do you draw the line with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because there has to be a cut-off point, and a line has to be drawn in the sand and say, right, yeah, you can do this, and then eventually you get to that line and say, right, that's enough now. We can't, like, you're going way over the top. Do you know what I mean? Because what would it be next season? Would it be like that other prices start going up, and then you're making it basically people ain't going to be able to afford to go and watch their team play?
Because what we were saying before you came in, I don't know if you heard us, but we all basically came to the conclusion that we obviously don't have a problem with tourists coming to the stadium, because for all we know, the next father-son, mother-daughter, whatever duo, that could be their first match ever, and then they support West Ham for the rest of their lives. We don't have a problem with that. The only problem we have is we feel like Brady and Sullivan are shifting their focus more towards that than helping the longtime match goer who has a long lineage of supporting the club. And when you look at it, some of the best clubs in the world are able to do both. And like Fever said, there's just got to be a cutoff point where enough is enough.
I think it's like everything where you can look at the other clubs. I'd be interested to hear your boys' answer to this as well in terms of where you draw the line. But I think it's this thing, you look at other clubs and you look at a club like City. I think City is the obvious one in terms of how great it is for match day going fans. I mean, their tickets ain't cheap either, by the way.
Yeah.
The difference is they've got fucking monopoly money.
Yeah.
We've got poor money. Sullivan ain't even a billionaire, really. I'm not saying he's poor by any means, don't get me wrong, but he's scraping the barrel a little bit. He's punching above his weight as the owner of a top 10 Premier League club. And I think until realistically we get that super rich owner, the fans are always going to have to pay the price a little bit. I think it's tough. But I agree with all the fans criticizing this. I support that. I think the actual answer to how big an effect, how big a story this will be, which was your original question, we're going to see the answer for that in whether people are boycotting buying new kits, whether people are boycotting.
Exactly what I said.
And I think the actual answer will be
the Betway Cup. That will be the answer for me.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see a reduced attendance. I'm sure maybe that shirt sales might go down a little bit. But I think once people see them out and they see all like Luis Guillaume in them and our new signings in them, they go, boycott what boycott? And I think it's just that time passes, things forget. I might be wrong. Maybe this is a huge revolution and the start of something fresh and big takedown of the owners. But
we're gonna take the man down right now.
Exactly, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back. But
one thing I will say is that
I'll just say this shit. They keep pouring straw on us, and our backs refuse to be broken because at the end of the day, we fucking love West Ham. We fucking love West Ham, and we're prepared to pay the money, and we're prepared to do this and do that.
Most people,
they know that. Yeah, they know that. They know West Ham fans are always going to love their club, so they can take the piss.
I agree with what you're saying. The only issue I have is West Ham are in a rented accommodation, and it ain't even their fucking ground, and they're taking the piss. Now, for me, if West Ham owned the ground, and it was West Ham United Football Club, that's their ground, they own it lock, stock, and barrel, then I could understand a little bit of why they want to increase the prices to try and make West Ham great, like make things better at the club. To me, they're fucking increasing it for their own greed. Yeah, and the problem is, and my argument it will always be this is it's always the little man at the bottom who gets fucking wiped out first. It's always the young kid who can't afford to go. And I'm not being funny. How must a father tell his son and say to his son, like who's like 7, 8, 9, whatever, saying, "Sorry, son, I can't take you to West Ham this season. I can't buy you a season ticket. Like, we will go to games, but it'll be like maybe 5 games in a season or 10 games in a season, but I can't afford to take you and watch West Ham play because I can't afford it." That in the 21st century is fucking pathetic. Yeah, and it's disgusting that you would allow that to happen, right? In this current climate, I'm sorry, like, and I will stand by that. I stood by that for 8 years, and I'll stand by it now to the day I fucking go. Like, it shouldn't be like that. Now, the question is, what Elite was saying is basically, where do you draw the line with it? I think the line is coming up to the line now, if I'm being honest, because I think this is going to ramp up even more. And if people do start boycotting, not buying merchandise, not buying tickets, and I think also another thing that has to be done is whoever does go, whoever can afford to go, and they're in the ground, they need to walk out the ground on the 60th minute or 70th minute mark to make a statement. Because if you can walk out at 4-0 down against Arsenal and we're getting fucking obliterated, you can walk out under this if you really do care, right? Because that's what it should be. You need to make Sullivan look like a cunt, and if you do that, you got half a chance, because David Sullivan, we all know it, does not like bad publicity. Yeah, he doesn't like it, and with 10,000 West Ham fans walking out and making a statement, that goes in newspapers, that goes on internet. And he won't like that at all.
Or just protesting inside the ground. You only have to look at what David Moyes was saying on the podcast he did with Gary Lineker and all that the other day about the Moyes out banner.
Like, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen inside the ground, Trey. No,
but the thing is, the Burnley game proves it can happen. And don't get me wrong, when I look at the Burnley game, probably went too far. But you have to say that it did. That is the one thing that genuinely hugely impacted the way the club was run. Like the stuff, all the stuff preamble to that, all the stuff preluding that, it dented them, but it didn't really move anything. It didn't change anything. When Burnley happened, it was like, oh crap, we have to change things. Now again, it probably went too far. People were literally throwing stuff at him, right? I probably wouldn't advocate for that bit personally, all right? Like, it's okay. We don't have to throw coins at the guy, but that is the thing that changes things. I don't think the attendance will go down particularly, because I just don't. That's football. We go to the games. Yeah. People pay for their tickets. They go to the games. That's just the way fandom works. And it's very difficult to tell a fan to stop going to a thing and it actually to happen. If it was to happen, beautiful. I think that's probably the ideal scenario, but I doubt it will happen. But protesting's inside the ground. Like I say, you only have to look at what Moyes said about the Moyes out banner at Fulham. That was years ago. He's still talking about it. This is the sort of stuff that makes an impact to those people. And if you are going to continue to go to games, if there is going to continue to be a very, very high attendance, like there almost certainly will be, that's the stage past that has to happen, in my opinion.
I'm going to say this, Charlie. It will never happen in the ground, for a fact. The reason why it will never happen in the ground and there'll never be protests in the ground, because as soon as something goes up, stewards will be told, right, any banners go up, get them out the ground. As officers. So if you go and put a banner up,
I'll be honest.
At West Ham,
I know someone who's a steward at West Ham. They don't care that much.
Well,
they're not that fast. If you're actually paying attention to what you're doing, it's not that difficult to get stuff in that ground.
Right. I've not been for many years, right? Anytime I've watched West Ham, yeah, I've never seen a banner in the ground saying about Sullivan, not once. Yeah,
It's also a
right.
massive. It's also logistically quite a massive ground. So
It is quite,
so a way of like cameras catching that is difficult.
yeah.
Again, comparing that to the Fulham situation where Craven Cottage has about an attendance of 5 people.
The
You know,
thing
it's quite
is,
easy for that to be caught on camera.
I understand that, but I, for me, I just don't think. Well, I think they would get shut down. They would probably get threatened with losing their season ticket or some shit. But I'll tell you what you can't threaten a West Ham fan, and I will say this quite openly, is if they turned around and walked out. They walked out on the 60th minute mark or 70th minute mark and said, right, enough's enough. We're not having this, right, and we're going to continuously do this. The problem is that you got half of the fan base are saying, well, it is what it is. We just got to get on with it. The other half of the fan base are looking at it and thinking, this is a joke. The 80s is unacceptable. Until they all come together, then it's just never going to change, in my opinion.
I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on there, James. I think that emotive argument about picture a parent trying to tell their child that I can't afford the season ticket. That's so convincing. And it's such a great point. It's such a brilliant point. And we mustn't lose sight of that. The problem is, I want to watch West Ham, yeah, and I am a selfish bastard. Will I walk out in the 70th minute if we're 1-1 versus a team? I'm not sure. And that's me being honest there. That's just me being totally honest.
Many other people probably feel the same way because, like I was saying, with social media and the news, like we think we know what a majority of people think, but there's so many other people that don't have access to social media, cable, whatever it may be, that could have a complete differing opinion. So like you said, I would have to agree. I'd probably be the same. It's a bit different for me because obviously I'm paying a shit ton of money to go over and whatnot, but I care enough that I would also have to ask myself the question, like 1-1, 70th minute, United at home. Am I walking out?
I know. I understand. I understand the argument.
Betway Cup, yes.
But the only way that you're ever going to get into Sullivan is through the media.
Agreed.
Because listen, like you could take banners away from home, and you could have them away from home. That's why. Why do you think when the Moyes thing was happening quite a lot, there was never no banners at the home games because they was getting shut down. There was always away from home. Yeah, because it's always been like that. Right? Because Sullivan doesn't like bad press. He simply doesn't like it, right? And we all know it, yeah, because like he comes out with some old fucking bollocks. But for me, it's a tricky one. It really is. I understand that everything goes up, so prices have got to go up, but you don't cut off the bloodline and you don't cut off the generations that have been before. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is the problem, right? Before I sort of land on anything else you lads want to say, is that this is what I see in 2016 when like all the locals and local businesses started to fall apart because of this geezer. Do you know what I mean? He didn't give a fuck. All he was intending on is getting them to Stratford, and he actually got to West Ham to Stratford a couple of years too early because it wasn't even ready. So,
yeah,
you know, it is a problem. Charlie Walsh, anything you want to add before I let you go, mate?
Subscribe to E20. Importantly, first of all, if you haven't already, what the hell are you doing? Hit the like button while you're there because it helps. It genuinely helps. Yeah, look, like I said, I think by talking about tourists, we're just missing the point, and I think it's too easy to split. And I think that's my problem with any of these things is it's so difficult to get a group of people to do the same thing that actually keeping it as simple as possible is the most important thing. And I think by talking about tourists, it's missing the point, whereas actually it's trying to price everyone out of football. Again, I'm also not gonna get too political, but you know, capitalism's a thing. But yeah, I feel like there is just a situation where I feel like we shouldn't be attacking other people. There's one person that ultimately it all comes down to, and that's David Sullivan, and that's the person who we should all be focusing on because he's the one who is ultimately doing it for the bottom line, and the bottom line's not going to change that much by him doing this, which makes it even more insane. And then also, yeah, just like the video, please. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Quickly before you go, England, win, lose or draw tomorrow?
Oh, Christ. I think we'll win. I think it will be 2-1. I think it will be really, really dour. And then it's just about, listen, getting through with down results until the final. It's really all that matters, I guess. Tournament football, knockout football, I don't really care how we get there as long as we get there. But at the same time, I'm not going to enjoy doing it. So,
Fair enough, Charlie. Anyway, Charlie, I'll let you go, mate. Take care. Much love to you. All right, catch up with you soon. Bye, mate. Elite, final word with you, mate. Anything you want to add before we make a move?
It was funny when you were talking about local businesses and small businesses getting destroyed because of some small fella's decision in 2016. I thought you were talking about Nigel Farage there. I think that point Charlie made there about blaming tourists and looking at blame the tourists is exactly the same as us being in a cost of living crisis and people go and blame the immigrants. Yeah, it's complete drivel. And it's missing the key point. And the key point for all of this is David Sullivan. And that will remain the key point until he goes. And you're absolutely right. Picture that parent now who can't tell their kids they can't afford that season ticket or who's having to make big sacrifices in his own life to be able to afford to go and watch his team. That's horrible. That's horrible. But that's where the Premier League's going right now. So I think realistically, maybe we need to do something as all fans. But anyway, yeah, I think what James said there is so spot on, and what Lucas was saying is also spot on as well. You're both well versed in this issue, both talk about it really well. I think you're two really important voices in regards to this. I think the reality is, though, the decision's been made, and I don't think we're going to see a reversal of that decision. And I think even if we saw huge protests, I don't think we'd see a reversal of it. But it might mean that they start to care about the fans a little bit more because we do have the power at the end of the day. It is our club, It's tough. It's tough. And Max Kilman, I hope we sign him. He's a good player.
Fair enough, man.
Passion is power.
You can ask me about the game?
Go on, then.
Hey, good man. Listen, 3 words, it's coming home. Yeah. Tomorrow, easy. Yeah. 4-0 win. 4-0 win. I'm so confident we're going to play really well. The confidence is going to start to kick in. Harry Kane, Hattie, followed by Bowen off the bench, cutting inside. Come on. I'm confident for this. I really think round of 16, we'll get some crap team. We'll beat them. Yeah, like some crap team like Croatia or something. We'll beat them.
Your lucky day. We'll be playing Switzerland next week.
Okay. Yeah. I don't even know who we'd be playing, but someone shit. Yeah, and then we'll beat Spain or whatever in the quarterfinals. Yeah, like their woke ball 16-year-old winger. Who's bothered? Yeah, this is England, mate. And then once we're in the semi-final and final, Southgate knows how to win. Yeah, apart from when he has lost, but he knows how to win, and he's going to get those wins for us. Yeah, I'm so confident.
Fair enough.
I put £2.50 on it last night for it to come over. Yeah.
Fair enough, man. I've got quite a bit of money on England and France, but it is what it is.
Just win the group for me, please. I got money on that.
Take it.
All the best.
Take it easy, man. That's been elite. Any final words? It must have been a good show, this one. Really enjoyed this one. I know me and Charlie had backwards and forwards about this, but it's quite a realistic.
But just like anything in life, the most important part is that the vision came full circle. Everyone was understanding, and I think we all came to a agreement at the end, even though it didn't start that way, but it did. And I wish anything in life, politics, relationships, I wish everything could be like that, because that's important. Coming to a understanding.
For me, to round this video up, basically, people are starting to open their eyes to the situation that is the bigger problem at West Ham than just an employee who works for West Ham. David Sullivan always will be a problem at West Ham, and Brady to a point, because they're both money-hungry people. They've got no passion or care or desire for West Ham to progress. It's always the same shit. I think the people associated with Sullivan, all the sort of media journos and people on social media, I think they're a bunch of cunts, if I speak the honest truth. I'm not going to lie. I was going to say how it is, because Sullivan would always do what he does, and it's always the little man at the bottom who has to suffer. Just remember what I said today, people, yeah? Some father out there next season will have to tell his 7, 8, 9-year-old kid that he ain't going to be able to afford to take him to West Ham every other week. That is unacceptable in this day and age for this club. We rent that stadium for £5 million a year right? We're worried about the transfer fucking budget, and now the owner's trying to fucking outprice the locals, children, and the elderly out of going to the club. It's not right. It's not on. And do you know what? Shout out to Hammers United. Shout out to all the boys who are fighting it. Yeah, if they ever want to come on here and have their say, they are fucking more than welcome. DM me. I will set the stream up and I'll let them unload. Yeah, because I'm with them. I'm with them. The thing is with me, 8 years has gone by and I've sort of faded away with it. Yeah, I love this club, but I will never invest a pound into this club, right? While fucking Sullivan's in the door, because he does not care. He cares about a pound note, and all we are is a checklist, and it's pretty sad to see. I'm going to say that. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. England, Lucas. I will be doing a watch along. I mean, enjoying doing a watch along. I'm gonna be honest. I find them fucking very depressing when I'm watching England. I must admit, but
have a day off.
Fuck it, yeah. Just like I done a watch on the other day. It was depressing. I'm not gonna lie.
If anyone cares from an outside point of view, Elite said 4-0. I was gonna say 3-1. I think you guys will coast. I think them and Croatia are gonna have a similar impact. I'm not going to say that Croatia are going to win 3-1, 4-0, but I think we're going to play our best match today, and I think England will play their best match tomorrow.
I agree with you 100%. I think England turn up tomorrow, and I think what it is, people start believing again, and then, come the quarterfinals, that's when it all goes tits up. But yeah, listen, I'll be back tomorrow to do a watch along. I'll be doing an afterthought straight after the England game, so if you want to come on, have your say. You know how it works on this channel. The link will be in the chat. Come on, have your say about England. Win, lose, or draw. That's enough of me and Lucas. Enjoy your Monday evening, wherever you are. It's been lovely weather here. He's been out on a boat, so have I. And it's been very, very good. So yeah, I will see you again in the next one. Like and subscribe to the video and all that game. And thank you very much.
Come on, Croatia. Come on.
A bush.